Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Morning Live. Now, the Proteas gave themselves a chance to qualify for the semi-finals when they played out to a highly entertaining 48-all draw against the current defending champions in New Zealand. The calculators are now out, and this morning's matches have taken a lot of importance, with New Zealand versus Jamaica match at 11 a.m. being of particular interest to South Africans. To help us talk about this, we have roped in netball analyst Sandisiwe Guzana as well as Dineo joining us right here on Morning Live. Good morning to you, ladies. Sandy, let me start with you. And as I begin with you, I want us to talk about the encounter yesterday between South Africa and New Zealand. What do you make of the overall team's performance? And let's also just touch on how Mahome had a good game, and of course the player of the match yesterday, Nicole Taliad.
Well, good morning, and good morning to your viewers. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right, all right. Thank you, thank you. Yes, going back to the match. Well, first thing I want to say, or rather touch on, is that New Zealand didn't make it easy for us. Just looking at the statistics of the entire game, New Zealand had a 95% goal difference, or rather their shooting accuracy, whereas South Africa only had 75. They had more turnovers, we had more penalties. So just looking at statistics alone, they will actually were supposed to have won that game. But what I think happened is that South Africa did their homework. They saw where they lacked in the previous game against Jamaica. As we all saw, they lost in the third quarter with Jamaica. And that's actually where South Africa won in the game against New Zealand yesterday. So I believe that they came back, they did their homework, and not to forget that they played a very clinical game, which helped them, I would say, get to the point in which they were in. So yes.
And Dineo, for you, what do you make of yesterday's performance, and what would you say the team needs to take out of that and apply in the game today up against Uganda?
Look, I mean, the girls came out guns blazing yesterday. They're shaky from the beginning. I think that that's what they need to work on. From the starting point, they need to make sure.
Oh no, we do have a bit of a connection issue there with Dineo. We'll try to get it back online. But maybe let me throw it to you then, Sandy. What are the key takeaways from yesterday's encounter which we should definitely use up against this Ugandan side, which we've seen is very motivated, and we've seen that they do want to cause an upset in this World Cup?
Well, what we can take from yesterday's game is that let us not wait
throughout the game.
I
know for a fact that
Okay, no, sorry, Sandy, you may continue.
Oh, I was just saying that from the start of the game, from the minute that the whistle blows, we need to start working. We should not rely so much on our defensive side to have to bring the ball back as we did yesterday. From what I saw is that, unfortunately, we had a lot more turnovers that we could have capitalized on, which we did not. So I would like to see us do more of that in the game for today against Uganda, because we don't have many second chances, so we need to utilize every chance that we get.
Indeed, and we now talk about what we need to happen in the other encounter in order for South Africa to make it through to the next stage of the competition, which is the semis, and we see a matchup between New Zealand as well as Jamaica. What are your expectations in terms of that clash? Because we've seen both of these teams play very well, but obviously the defeat we suffered against Jamaica was something that one must take into account versus the draw we got against New Zealand.
It's going to be quite an interesting game. I believe that the Sunshine Girls are going to win their game, but now they need to win it with a very large goal margin to allow us to then, I would say, move into the semifinals. And that's what we need to focus on even today. With playing Uganda, we need to make sure that we not only secure our win, but make sure that the goal margin in itself is quite large. That is actually what's going to help us and secure our place in the semi-finals.
Indeed, and we do have Dineo now joining us back once again via hybrid. Dineo, sorry about that connection issue. Let's touch on the clash between New Zealand as well as Jamaica. What are your expectations in terms of that encounter? Because I think we've seen that the defending champions, although they've played well so far in this tournament, they're not really performing at their best.
Look, I think the only reason why they're a bit shaken is because their goal shooter, Grace Nweke, is now injured. But I don't think that Dame and Aline Turoya hasn't prepared the ladies. So now that they've encountered us and they've seen what we can bring to the table, I don't think that they're not gonna come out with their A game and bring out their best on court. So I feel like the Sunshine Girls need to then double up on that. With that said, New Zealand lost encounter. I don't think New Zealand met the Sunshine Girls. I stand to be corrected with this, but with them having not met them, I don't think they actually have seen or felt how the Sunshine Girls have played in a while. So it's going to be quite a very big encounter to see how the Sunshine meets the Silver Ferns. But the Silver Ferns are not going to take it lying down. They have met each other, a couple of them, on normal ANZ League and or Sunshine Corp League. So they're gonna try and make sure that they come out tops with this. But I hope that the Sunshine Girls take this one for our sake.
We do hope so for South Africa's sake. Let's touch a bit on that. You mentioned the fact that New Zealand, of course, now without Grace, who's one of their key shooters. And when we look at that defense in terms of this Jamaican side, I mean, we've seen a Shamira having an outstanding tournament. How do you see that one playing out in the goal circle?
Oh, God, there's nothing that's going to be tougher than that goal circle. Yesterday I was watching the game and I was like, oh, wafa, le? Like, it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen in that defense circle. But I do, look, I think Shamira Sterling is absolutely outstanding. She just keeps raising the bar, and I hope for anything. I mean, for the Silver Ferns' sake, I hope that the ladies are prepped. Ignacio is a very strong shooter, and as the captain, she's been running with this game. She's been holding it down for the Silver Ferns. I hope that she continues to do so. Oh, God, I don't even know. Like, I'm so stressed out.
We're all stressed out, Dineo. We're all stressed out, believe you me. Sandy, just as I wrap up with you now, let's talk about how we saw yesterday the South African technical team was able to adjust and adapt based on how the New Zealand team was coming at South Africa. Do you see them doing the same tonight against Uganda?
Yes, I do. We have had a lot of time to, if I could say, fix our errors. We know where we fell short on in the Jamaican game, and I believe that Norma Plummer has seen and probably gone back and done her homework with now coming in with playing Uganda. I do not have any uncertainties or any doubts that we will rise to the occasion of today versus Uganda. Yes, there are a few differences that we then need to bring into this game. Number one, looking at the goal shooter of Uganda, she is tall, but she's not a standing shooter. So already the game plan there has to change.
All right, Sandy, thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you as well to Dineo joining us, talking all things netball. South Africa, of course, in action today. They will be up against Uganda. Meanwhile, the Silver Ferns, they will be facing the Sunshine Girls in what is a must-win encounter for Jamaica in order for South Africa to progress to the semifinals.